Hey everybody, Carol Mahoney here, back from 12 days of travel. We had our live sales lab today. Today we talked about prospects who disappear or go dark or stall. So show of hands. How many of us have had that happen? Yeah, me too. Right, so if you didn't raise your hand, it's either because you're so new that it's never happened to you before, or you just have been doing this for so long that you can't remember that far back as to when it last happened. So you may not be able to prevent it from happening 100% of the time. But there are things that you can do to make it happen less. So some of the things we talked about today and shared is, first, the idea of a dirty laundry list. For every deal that you've ever lost or that's disappeared, keep a dirty laundry list on why. Now, this can be as easy as setting up your CRM to require a deal lost reason, but you got to be honest. You missed something, you didn't ask something, or something changed. The second thing we talked about is that people just don't like giving bad news. So if the deal is stalled or the prospect has disappeared, you can bail them out by asking, so did your boss or your board say no? Did I miss something important? What's changed? Or did your current provider promise to fix everything and charge you 20% less? Because that's never happened, right? So remember, as I overheard at the Outbound conference last week, short questions get you long answers. And think about it. If you're asking these questions up front, you're preparing your prospect for that eventual obstacle to getting their compelling problem solved in time to get their desired results. So that might sound like, okay, well, what will you do if your boss or your board say no? Or what might impact that timeline that you've described? Now, before you do a whole lot of running around to put together a deal that's not real, find out what everyone's compelling reason is to solve that problem or make that change. And if you have multiple decision makers, you've got to understand from each of them how that's going to be. So why is it a problem? Why does it need to be fixed? What if the solution need to look like? And when do these results need to happen by? Everyone's going to have a slightly different version of that. Your job is to build that consensus and put it all together. And then when things start to stall, you can go back to say, has this timeline changed? Is this no longer a problem? Did you decide to go in another direction? Because the thing about deals that stall is that we tend to keep them in our pipeline too long, which means that we have an inflated pipeline, which means we're not prospecting when we should. So making sure that you're asking those questions. So on today's call, we also actually found that there is some instances where salespeople are adding so much value in the process that they're going through that they're actually able to charge for those meetings, which greatly reduces the number of prospects that are going to go dark on you or that are going to disappear because there's skin in the game. And it also, if you think about it, raises a certain level of trust, because if they're paying for this advice, it had better be unbiased and impartial and something that they can even apply and use in their company and their organization, regardless of whether or not they buy your software solution or your insurance policy or your service. So think about, are you adding enough value? Are your teams adding enough value that you could actually charge for those meetings? If not, then there's something missing. So thanks to everybody who joined this week. You're brave and you're bold. And join me next week, because I'm going to have special guest coach Liz Hyman with me. And we're going to be taking your questions and your challenges about how to grow key accounts. Because the selling never stops, does it? Just because you've won that first opportunity doesn't mean that your job's done. So if you're truly looking to solve problems, you should be actively working with key accounts to find more ways to help them. So check out the link in the information below to join us next week. And please, let's keep sharing about this conversation. What is it that you do when your prospects go dark? Carol Mahoney.